You know, my catchphrase is up there, but I can't. What is it?
Hello, Internet Ferns.
Hello, Internet Ferns, and welcome. It is Saturday night. It is Quests and Chaos. We are playing Call of Cthulhu, Children of Fear. Thank you.
I'm sorry, we have breaking news.
Breaking news,
everybody. Hi, YouTube. Okay, and back to you.
Wait, we're changing the...
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Banter. Also,
Wow.
my head's getting cut off.
So does that mean the...
You are too tall to pull that off.
So does that mean we're not gonna? Wow. Okay. Hello, YouTube. Awesome.
We'll still cut to the slate briefly because I'm still cutting stuff out for the podcast.
There we go.
So
okay.
I can't badmouth.
Well, podcast listeners, you're not hearing any of this. So now is the time. If anybody wants to say anything bad about podcast listeners,
those podcast listeners,
mouth breathers,
viewing our content.
They're in pods.
They certainly do not like swearing.
Oh, yes.
Oh, stars and stones.
I'm glad they're not going to hear that. Yes.
No, only by dwarves.
Only
Only by dwarves.
only by one dwarf.
Yep.
Man, they're
One
heightest.
Foul-mouthed dwarf ruins it for all
He
people.
was very foul-mouthed, to
He
be
was.
fair.
Look at that banter already. Friends, thank you so much for spending part of your geeking with us. We really appreciate it. We have just a few quick announcements. First of all, our tavern upkeep is 62%?
Looks that way.
Yeah, 62%. This has been a weird month, we know, and so we really appreciate everything that all of you have done. Our patrons, our Twitch subscribers, you on YouTube, since you're joining us now, watching this episode with the sound up, I guess?
Yeah.
I watched this episode with the sound as low as possible, but that's just me.
It just needs to be one.
All right, just one little knob up.
One doot up.
Yeah,
And you
okay.
can't mute the tab either.
Ah, that's the trick, okay.
You know what's really terrible? Is that if you mute a tab on Chrome, that website is muted on every tab you have. So if you're on, like, let's say, 3 Google Meet meetings at once, which
Just
you
say.
are, and you mute one of them, it mutes them all. So then you can't hear anything. But then when you're trying to listen to one, anyway.
So I think really the takeaway here is don't be on 3 Google meetings at once.
That would be ideal.
Impossible?
Yeah,
Yeah,
before Thomas.
Possibly, yes. You know, workable? No.
Yeah. Thanks for booking that meeting. I wasn't busy or anything.
We have, as you know, our tavern upkeep keeps the lights on in the studio and helps us keep bringing all of this fun programming to you. It's amazing that with an up and down schedule this month, we're at 62% just so almost natively, which is fantastic. So thank you all for that. We really appreciate it.
You know what's a good time to mention is that I should have warned Alondra I was going to do this, but we have got... Oh, it's not updated in this scenario.
She's going to murder you.
we have a Patreon role that is almost entirely updated.
Wow.
And it's
almost entirely. We're only leaving off the patrons we don't like. That's...
But that can be wrong.
Look for that in our next episode. You'll be glad you did. We have some wonderful friends who support us here. Most importantly, and always first, number one in your programs, number one in our hearts, Birds of Paradise, the official dice of the Great Dane Society. We roll them. You should too. We've got Tiana rolling the Birds of Paradise,
These
the
are the
classics.
These are the titular birds.
I've got my parrot sharks that I love so.
And I rolled an aught 3 with them, so you know.
There you go.
I've got some new rusty dice here. Alondra gave me some
Yeah, I know.
dice with little tiny foxes inside of them.
Can I see your D20?
No.
I need 6 hit points.
Foxy.
Whoa! 0-5.
Wow, get those rolls out of the way now.
And the great thing about... So these dice are hard to read, but in the studio, the light
Hits it just
hits
right?
it just right. I'll take a
the
picture.
light
Anyway,
hits your dice, like-
continue on. I'll take a picture.
They're not Birds of Paradise. We won't speak of them.
Like people with the food.
Look, here's all you need to know. Birds of Paradise roll so well, Nick will not use them.
It's true.
I've compared the numbers. They're just too
He's
good.
done the math.
Yeah.
They're just, they won't give him the fumbles he needs to play at the level we all expect of him.
Yeah.
So he won't use Birds of Paradise at all. You can go to Birds of Paradise website, birdsofparadise.tv and
.com.
and enter our code chaotic at checkout, and you will get some amount off. 20%, I think. I think they upped it to 20%.
Perhaps.
That more than pays for shipping and tax. So that's
Especially these days. That's,
Yeah.
that's super valuable.
a beautiful thing. And lots of dice have just become available on Birds of Paradise as Andrea has done the full inventory. So you can find all those great sets. Go get yourself some dice. Speaking when you're getting dice, get yourself a mini made of your favorite character. We have a Hero Forge affiliate link. If you use our link, bit.ly/QNCheroforge, you can get a great mini made of your favorite character, and we get a little cash. So that's a beautiful thing. Nord Games, they make great products that let you play D&D without giving wizards money, which should always be your goal. You can use our code Chaotic20 to get 20% off of your order at their ridiculous website that I will not deign to say. It's slashes and threes, and it's in the Discord. Speaking of Discord, join our Discord. Our Discord is fantastic. A couple weeks ago, somebody came in the Discord and was like, they keep telling me to join the Discord, and I finally did, and wow, this is great. And I'm like, well, so get in there, people.
Yeah. And you can also come and yell at us for swearing.
Yep.
Hey, look.
It's true.
This
We
at
welcome any and
times,
all criticism.
At times, this is an adult. We do adult things. Speaking of which, content warning: if they ever get off this damn boat, there could be some weird sexual content in this episode. Just to warn everybody. And as always, all of the X card is on the table. Fade to black is there. All of those things as needed. Let's see. Is there anything else here that I need to watch? Okay. So I want to send kind and loving thoughts to anyone with a uterus, because it's not a great time to be someone with a uterus. And as was reminded to me, it's not just women that have uteri.
Hi, I'm not a woman, so yes.
I don't know what is the plural of uteruses.
Uteri works.
Uteruses or uteri?
I mean-
it's like the octopus thing?
That's
Yes. Yes.
Do some people have multiple uteruses?
Not.
Anyway,
That's interesting.
moving on.
I mean, I imagine there's some
There could be, yeah.
genetic mutation that can cause that sort of thing.
And look,
You know what? That's probably true.
look, it's a divisive issue. It shouldn't be, but it is, and it is something that makes people uncomfortable. I just want to say that I love and support and give my full support to anyone who is feeling threatened or angry or like their body is not their own. No one should have that feeling. There is not a single instance in this world as a white male that someone tells me, you can't do that to yourself. And that is not true for anyone with a uterus, and that is an awful, awful thing. If you are so moved, there are many great organizations. Your local Planned Parenthood is fantastic. Abortionfunds.org is a national clearinghouse that takes funds on a state level for people who need money to get an abortion, to get access to the health care they need. I have supported abortionfunds.org. If you do as well, let me know, and I will send you a little something to thank you, because we should everyone should feel as threatened as people with uteruses are currently feeling. All right, that is the heaviness out of the way. Let's play a game and try and bring some happiness and some release from the actual horror that is our world, and let's go to the fake horror that is Children of Fear. Let's see what goes wrong this time. let's get murdered. Oh, wait, sorry. See, my catchphrase needs to be up there. That's why.
Yeah.
Hello, podcast listeners. This is Call of Cthulhu with Quests and Chaos. This is Children of Fear, Episode 12, Part 1. There are so many unanswered questions, there's probably going to be a Part 2. But maybe not. Maybe we'll just solve everything this time. Who knows? Maybe we'll finally figure out who murdered the person in Port Thoria.
Nope. Never happened.
Have we even found that the person's been murdered?
Now we found that the person has not been murdered.
Oh, there's not been a murder in Port
There's not been a
Thoria.
murder, but there's going to be. We have to help save the queen.
Speaking of, a few quick program notes. I forgot to do this when it wasn't before, but Monday we've got Nat 1 coming back. Tuesday the Chaos Agents are here, and then summer work and vacation comes into play, and our shows are going to be dark for a little bit. The next game of our next game, Children of Fear, will be July 16th. That will be our next game. I hope you all have a lovely 3-day weekend in America, and we'll be back on the 16th. Okay, so last time...
Do we have Patreon bits?
Oh yes, Patreon bits. Good Lord, do you have Patreon bits?
You know.
You have... Oh, I can't even lift them all up. I'm not going to throw these because I would break something. Or something more.
Sure.
I am not. We already have ants. I am not cleaning the table.
There you go. Okay.
Nick would lick it all up. He's not going to let booze waste.
Yeah, that's true.
There's splinters of glass. Your intestines.
But booze.
Your intestines.
But booze.
No.
But no, okay. The minor lacerations will help my body soak in the alcohol.
Saying
not how
butt
that
booze, okay? Quit saying butt booze.
Oh, that's when you soak a tampon in vodka.
Yep.
And then...
Yep.
I'll have to try that.
I love that the person who doesn't drink is the one who brought that
Yeah,
up.
all of you idiots do that. It's natural selection. I'm fine with it.
You're saying don't do that?
Can somebody pass the Tide Pods? I need to exit this.
That's for the break. That's for the break.
I mean, I finally have some wild side again. Someone got wild side. I'm very pleased.
You have...
Gordon beer.
You have... Let's see, 2,
Is it good?
4, 6...
It's quite tasty.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
it better than others?
I wouldn't say that, but it is. It is on par at least with Angry Orchard, which is my other usual go-to.
Okay. So, it's not a tagline we could have used when we were sponsored by Gordon Beer. Is, you know what? It's beer.
Yeah. Well, that was what we did. Gordon Biersch, beer.
It's not as good as other beer, but it's free. That was...
Yeah. There are 10
I like Gordon.
Patreon bits still here,
like
and
the
these
Yankees.
come from our buddy Squeal the Bard, Slithy Tove. I don't have a Gen joke, so
You're not just inspired.
I'm ungen-inspired. So you have 10 bits that will expire after this, that will gen-spire after this episode. So use them all. Oh, it's like Vegas. There's some ASMR for you podcast listeners.
Too many over here.
Apologies.
No.
Nick, you need a whole bunch.
Why?
One more. Thank you.
Nick doesn't need any.
He's not going to use them.
Not gonna use them.
Why use inspiration when you can push a roll?
That's right.
It just seems inefficient.
I'll just make and clip that sound out when I do the podcast side of things, because that's a cool sound.
We were all talking over it. I actually did.
No, there was a brief second where we weren't.
She would know.
I've learned to listen for this.
I did record this.
That's a good one, yeah.
I still miss the pencil
I do
sharpener
have a
scream.
nice.
That's a good one, yeah.
I have that recorded as well.
I actually used
like that.
my QNC coin to do the challenge coin knocks.
We apologize
Shrimp
to the
Farm.
podcast listeners.
This is the content they come for. This is the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Tell us in the Discord.
We should have just a
Sounds we're recording.
Sounds we're recording.
There you go.
I'm a contributor to a board game podcast, and they would do giveaways, and they would roll. They'd say, "And now let's roll to see who wins," and then you'd hear. And the first 5 times I listened, I was like, Wow, those sound really good. Wait, that's the same.
I can neither confirm nor deny that sometimes in the redacted reports, when I can't hear people rolling, I will just put in a percentile die roll that I have saved from a very good roll.
I forgot when I ran down our programming Wednesday, the redacted reports, which are just launching into
Season 4, yeah.
Season 4.
We've just started the modern day version. We had kind of 2 prequel episodes with Rooster and some of our lovely patrons, which I won't mention here, but thank you.
This is where the show becomes wholesome, right?
If you consider spiders to be wholesome, sure.
Yeah,
They make some holes.
If you like military porn.
It was interesting, but now we're launching into the actual season, which I can say now because the first episode's out. It's Caligati. If you know the Delta Green, stuff's going to get interesting.
It's like Harry Carey. It's my favorite part of a Cubs game.
I was about to start a Harry Carey impersonation, and I'm like, 3 people, max.
Man, I used to watch so many Cubs games.
John Kruk, his name backwards is the same as it is for... It's not Harry. Well, no, it is.
You know, John Kruk is one of my favorite quotes ever. But maybe we shouldn't get into 80s
Then
baseball
why
players.
bring it up?
He's a 90s baseball player.
Was he?
Yeah, he was
okay,
90s.
Yeah.
Because the Phillies were, they won the World Series in the 90s.
He was a rookie in 87. But anyway, so...
I mean, we haven't done G.I. Joe stuff in forever, so I guess
that's
we're due.
You know, it turns out there's only so much G.I. Joe stuff you can do. Although,
I don't know, has anyone seen the new G.I. Joe, crossover stuff?
No.
You've got,
oh yeah, the tank.
Like
There's
his
like a his
that
tank
turns
transformer.
Into, anyway,
yeah. No,
Okay.
I took a look. I may or may not have not paid for it. Wow. I may or may
Hey,
not.
everyone.
We're playing Strip Cthulhu.
It's hot in
Every
here.
time you fail a pushed roll, remove a piece of clothing.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that.
No.
No, I may or may not have taken a look at the G.I. Joe role-playing game.
Thoughts?
Not great.
Oh.
Not great, Bob. It is not pushing the boundaries of game design. And,
That's too bad.
I mean, but,
When are you going to start a
would it be-
Kickstarter for your own?
Would it be fun?
for a one-shot maybe, but, it has, it is beholden to its source material in ways that are not, that go beyond celebrating it into, sort of slavishly following the...
Worshipping.
Well, more than that, slavishly following the pattern of the episode. So, there's not a lot of dramatic, is something going to go wrong? Mm-hmm. Probably not, But,
I mean, pretty much any branded TTRPG is like that. Tales of Equestria is very, maybe not as slavishly connected to My Little Pony, but it's definitely a thing.
The Buffy the Vampire Slayer role-playing game was surprisingly, deconstructive. It was really interesting. It was
Really?
it was a cool narrative system. Yeah.
But does Joss Whedon get any royalties from it?
I hope
And if
not.
he does,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
We have some bits from players who are watching. We have 500 from Tamago Tor. See, now this is why. By the way, our own Lady Bedivere, my lovely wife, is doing something with the control panel that I do not understand. But I am given to understand that either she has bitten the control panel, or the control panel has bitten her, and they are now one.
Aware control panel.
Where, yeah, she is.
No, control panel where?
Oh yeah, the control panel
Where?
turns into her. Lady Bedivere is on the zeros and ones producing this episode. We so appreciate her. And one of the things I appreciate about her is that she makes clear who the bits are for in parenthetical asides, which I find really useful.
Who has time to write parentheticals?
Lady
As I'm
Bedivere,
just
apparently.
I
And
also write with all my fingers, not just these two.
some great spelling.
Hey now.
We have 500 from our buddy Tamaga Tora, and I'm just going to give this to Nick because it is to push more rolls and spend luck. ironic that he's giving you bits to push rolls and spend luck.
Not for me.
I don't think he understands how this
You
works.
always do that.
We have.
Spend luck.
That's fair. So,
We-
you're the first half of
No,
it.
I'm giving it to you more out of spite than anything else.
Yeah.
I understand spite.
We have 500 from our buddy Duke Fleeg, just to keep me on my toes. I'm getting old. It's hard to stay on my toes. I'm not gonna. Oh man, good D.
Oh.
You get a second shot.
Good D. And we have another 500 from Tamago Tora to the players. Although this might be conditional, I don't know. No, I'm gonna say because explosives are always a good idea. Oh man, I was hoping the bounce would
On a
get it in the
flying
box. On a flying ship, yes.
I have to get in that room somehow.
Yeah, well, blow the door open.
What could go wrong?
I mean, you have a gun pointed in your face. An explosion is almost guaranteed at this point.
I don't think they had breaching charges in the 20s.
If I was
bet
to
they
hold up
did.
a stick of
Yeah.
dynamite
It was just-
to
yeah, it
my
was just
head,
dynamite.
that'd be the perfect counter. He wouldn't shoot.
Alloy, we need your C4.
Thank you so much for those bits. They've got a lot of them. Let's see if we can't take some of them away from them. So last time, the players were in India and they were looking for a way to get into Tibet, which is quite complicated because Tibet has done a very good job of shutting itself off from the rest of the world, really helped by being surrounded by the largest mountain range in the world. Definitely sets a natural border that people don't want to cross. But they found they found a Tsarist Russia group that is trying to find a means to combat the communists in Russia, and they have
Space
The
communist.
space
the
communists.
space communists. That's right. The one of the less sane things these Russians told them was that the communists are being aided by aliens.
They don't tell you that in history class.
And Rasputin is apparently helping the
And
Tsars.
Rasputin has, well, I mean, he was a czarist, until he wasn't.
Until
But-
he wasn't. Like,
yeah.
that's the thing, isn't it?
Yes, the ship is called the Rasputin, and it flies. It is the small military ship that you saw in your dream, and now you are on it, and you are flying to Nepal, to Tibet. Flying, the altitude has been something of a challenge, and it's quite cold as you go over the mountains, and. Some of you have been on deck sort of watching what's going on and really marveling in this. But poor Eugene wanted to know how a flying ship works. And it turns out that no machinery is being used. There's no engine, there's no generator, there's no clear power source except he sees wires and things running into what looks like a small closet or a small side engine room, and he went to try and open it, and Evgeny, the engineer, stopped him, and...
No, he tried to open it, realized it was locked.
Yeah.
Went to him for the key.
That's true, you went to Evgeny,
We tried to point at the door and key and indicate.
right, and Evgeny pulled a gun on him and said something in Russian. Among the many things in Russian, he said. And sadly, not the one word you do know in Russian.
Cocktail weenies.
Yeah, he did not say cocktail. Cocktail weenies did not come up. It could come up soon. And so you are in the engine room, close to that door, and Evgeny says something to you in Russian, and the gun is pointed at you.
Yeah, so I think... I don't know if I want to play him that stupid. There is the part of me that is kind of like, no shoot. Key, no shoot. You know when he does that.
Okay, so you hold up and you say no shoot, and Evgeny will point with his gun away.
Yeah, I'm not that stupid. I will go the other... No, I'm kidding. I'll go that way.
All right, and so Evgeny takes you...
Slowly and yeah.
Yeah, he's going to take you up to the bridge. We cut back. I think all of you were out on the deck, as I recall. And so, as is Tenzin. Tenzin is just like looking around, and he, as I said last time, he loves this because there are no wheels involved. So this is finally some transport he likes. And he's going to his homeland, so that also makes him happy. And on the all of you on the deck, make me a con roll.
44 success.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 4.
Fail.
All right. So your ears pop like very cool, like from the altitude and that sort of thing, and you definitely feel like that pressure in your ears from a rapid gain of altitude. It's very cold on the deck. Tenzin, as always, is only wearing the same thing he always wears, and he is just like he's almost dangerously leaning over the edge.
I probably will be standing fairly close with like a hand hovering just over the small of his back, ready to grab like the back of his shirt or the back of his pants if he falls. I'm not very strong, but I can at least try to help counterbalance back onto the ship.
He notices you. Well, actually, let's see. He notices you, and he smiles and he says, "Don't worry, I can fly."
I always worry until I see any evidence of this. So let's just, no. For the podcast listeners, Nick is gesturing at me to shove him off the edge of the ship, and I'm not going to do that.
You don't want to see him fly.
No, I don't.
No fun.
I'll make him.
I thought I could fly.
I'll make him prove it when we're on solid ground. How's that?
Boring.
He only flies when he's falling.
So he
He's just in one direction.
Yeah.
So he falls with style. He's
That's
a Buzz
right.
Lightyear of
There you go.
flying.
Okay. Yeah, he's very excited, and he will. You're standing right next to him, and he is like yelling into. So the wind is howling as you are traveling up in speed, and the wind is just whipping off these mountains. The wind shear, and he is just repeatedly, joyously yelling something in Tibetan into the ether, into the air.
Atreyu!
Boy, speaking of 80s.
Wow.
That's a good one, though.
If he ever pauses in his yelling, I'll ask him, what are you saying?
La Gyalo de Tamship Fam. The gods win, the demons are defeated. It is something my people say when we return to our country.
How?
I'm gonna look around for any flying creatures.
Make me a spot hidden roll.
Good call.
It'd be hilarious.
No,
Swing over
that's a
birds, just
negative.
All right.
Can you read them?
I gotta get it just right.
You've got plenty of inspiration.
You know what?
It's true.
If we're being attacked by flying creatures,
We
and
have
attacked
so
by
much
flying
inspiration.
Where's
Dude,
our
let's use
albatross?
Do it.
Ooh, somebody's gonna force. So like that would be a new one.
Thank you.
Can I force you to use the reroll?
That's an Amy.
Oh,
It's worse. It's not an Emma.
not an Emma.
Yeah.
Oh man, an Emma would have been so fantastic. You briefly, you have like the quickest glimpse of like, no, well, I mean, this is a flying ship, but was that a flying purple woman?
No.
Just like it must have been a cloud or something.
I've heard stories. I've heard stories.
Do you say anything?
Honestly, everyone up there should make a perception check to see.
Or psychology.
Yeah, or psychology.
Psych,
My,
all right.
my face goes like, no.
Yeah.
No, it
Yeah,
cannot be.
psych.
Yeah, we'll call it a
Cannot
psychology
be.
roll.
No, 68.
Yes, I got 37.
All right, yeah, you see Dimitri like take an involuntary step back from the railing, and he says something, and you probably say it in Russian
Yeah,
because it's
probably,
reflexive.
yeah.
He says something in Russian and seems shaken for a second.
Well, I've got 30% in Russian. I could try to see if I
Sure,
can
make a
understand.
Russian roll.
Try, why not? No.
Okay.
I don't
he said
but-
he said something in Russian. You're pretty sure he said no,
Niet.
Oh, that one I could do.
but he did not say cocktail weenie.
Oh, wow.
So ask us, what's the matter?
There are stories of a ship-bound woman. I think I have seen her in the sky.
Wait, if she's ship-bound, then... so she's far away?
But if she is flying, she won't destroy this ship. But if she is on this ship, we might fall to the ground.
Wow, I'll have to read that. That sounds like an interesting story.
Yes.
What's her name? Do you know?
The Duchess.
Dun, dun, dun!
I have not heard. Do I see Bertram?
The whale song. Bertram is the albatross.
I'll have to watch out for that story.
Purple, wearing violet.
Violet. I'll have to watch out for that story. Interesting.
It very quickly it gets to you don't want to be out on deck because it's getting so cold.
Oh.
One problem with the engine not running is that there's not a lot of heat on this boat. Because a surprising amount of heat in the 20s was, let's make a duct right to the engine. And I actually have a friend who has a 70-something Mustang, and that is one of the heat things is just a panel that you flip down and the engine just...
Oh my God.
It's really hot.
Part of the heat.
It's quite warm.
It makes sense, but that's awful.
Yeah.
What stinks is when your car's overheating in the summer, you have to turn the heat on full to cool off the engine.
Yeah, no fun. You quickly notice the lack of heat, and even indoors, it is chilly, and like everyone is putting on more jackets, and Arcady, the who seems to be the only one of the crew that speaks English, he will bring you all some warm jackets. You had some, but like you're very happy to have another one, even indoors. A couple of the guys have started a fire in a barrel on the deck. And they're just standing around the fire, just like trying to warm themselves, trying to keep the fire from being blown out by the wind.
Yeah.
Arcadia told you that it was probably going to take about 2 days to cross over. And you come in right as you see, as Arcadia is bringing you the coats, Evgeny comes in leading Eugene by gunpoint.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And in Russian, you will understand, you can make a Russian roll. Anybody else who speaks Russian can make a Russian roll.
Yes.
Okay.
The player speaks Russian. The character does not.
Yes. Evgeny tells Arcady that the American was trying to snoop in the room. And Arcady will say to Evgeny, put the gun away. And he uses you, because you're a native speaker, he uses a very familiar diminutive. Russian has a whole thing with like, when you shorten people's names, or weirdly sometimes when you lengthen them, it shows that you are very familiar with the person. And he uses that with Evgeny. And Evgeny will put the gun away and sort of walk away grumbling. And Arcady will say, very sorry.
Am I not allowed to look at the engine?
What is the room?
The room where it happens.
The inner workings of our ship are not a secret that we share with everyone.
Oh, I was under the impression when we spoke earlier that I would be able to see it.
As you know, we deal in issues of a more fantastic nature, and I
was just under the impression. My apologies. I thought that it was okay.
No, I'd ask that you, for your own safety, what you see in that room will change you.
That's like, don't push this button.
Will it change him for the better? Because
And probably all four of us just sort of look at each other like.
We have also seen many things.
Yes, this is something that I am very interested in hearing about. We have some time. And so he'll actually start like let me tell you a story about something we did. And he'll tell you a story about Rasputin and how Rasputin led a cult. And he had cast a spell with this cult that required a minimum of human sacrifice, which Arcady says far too blasely for most of your liking. That would ensure that the Tsar would live forever. It was a similar spell to the one that was placed on Rasputin.
And how did that work out?
Well, if we can find all of the Tsar, perhaps he can be...
Reconstructed?
Yes.
Face that both of you made it that
It was like, oh my god.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, certainly his parts could be used.
Bringing a golem into the world is not. I don't know.
Well, but would it be a golem or would it be a reborn human at that point?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, we could check in the mirror if he's willing to return.
What-
If so, we have the parts.
What is the philosophical question? The Theseus's boat?
Yes, actually. Although it would be all the same pieces, so would it actually count as Theseus's boat?
This is a good point.
I mean, technically, I don't. As long as I think I had a part of him.
You could
As
find
long
out.
as you have the
Clockwork Tsar.
soul. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, yeah. If you.
Well, we have this mission in front of us right now, but maybe later.
I have told you story. Now, I'm very interested to hear about your... you have told me a small amount of your ritual.
Which one?
Jeez, it's been so many real months that have passed.
It has not.
Nicholas is having a hard time remembering all the things that he's done. I'm trying to keep track of it myself.
Since when do you call yourself Nicholas?
Yeah, that's true.
He was thinking of the Tsar thing, so that's what you think.
Did we have shown him your children? Is that the ritual you mean?
Yes.
And that's
And that is the ritual that was
Scroll?
botched?
sorry.
Did I say something I was not supposed to again?
You said it out loud at least.
It wasn't botched, but in all fairness, I'm technically not the one who completed it. But I do have the full ritual. I understand how to do it.
Are you
And
sure
I
it wasn't
will-
botched?
Who completed it?
Well, my wife did.
Your wife? Which one of you completed it?
Nope.
She's on the other side.
She's a communist?
She's dead.
She's not with us.
Your dead wife completed the ritual that created your homunculi.
Children.
Okay.
Oh, homunculi, do they make?
But I could make I believe that I could potentially make a homunculi, and if the Tsar's soul is willing to impose it upon the homunculi.
You are in contact with your dead wife.
Not anymore. I was.
You have means to contact those whose souls are not at rest.
I want to pass the mirror to someone else now.
Well, didn't you say that you had to have something of hers?
Yes. I would need something of the Tsar's to attempt to make
Because you had something
contact.
very personal. Like,
Yes.
it's not something that could just be, I want to speak to the Tsar, like it's some seance.
Yeah, and a deep connection.
If I could give you something of the Tsar, you could contact.
We would have to. Don't look at me like that.
I'll look at you
Don't
like
make
you want
this-
to.
I mean, not to the method of contact is not without peril.
I did it under ideal circumstances.
The more you
Yes, I might be.
What are ideal circumstances?
Is Tenzin in the room?
No. We will discuss your friend who requires no heat in another moment.
I will. I don't know if sheepishly is the right word. Look at the rest of the group, but I did it in the wake of another ritual that that had an area purified and timed properly.
Oh.
I see. So a ritual circle was built.
And there happened to be some sort of blood god present.
Blood god.
I don't know, it wanted blood, but
what this was the Shri
yeah. Shri Chittipati.
Chittipati?
Always keep Shri Chittipati written down, because you never know.
I do not. Who is? What is Shri Chittipati?
Not bad.
I do not give a coherent answer. I will talk about doing a jig with
And then I was dancing with the skeleton.
double-bodied skeleton.
Yes.
That is something Tenzin probably has more information on, although I believe it is a god that
You said something about them being guardians?
guardians of the charnel grounds, or the burial grounds for.
When we were in
Yes,
India.
they do. They do interesting things with bones in India.
Yes, exactly.
You don't know the half of it.
Starts going.
Nope, that is hidden well away in my bag. Thank you very
I do not
much.
pull out the flute and start playing either.
But
Yeah.
if you two wanted to assist, I might be willing to give it a try.
The
Yeah,
only,
put it on you too. Ha!
Yeah.
I'm not the only bad person.
no,
in this.
I will also say the more you use the device, the more it
Only if you don't give it blood.
potentially.
What device?
Also, if I see it, I will smash it. So,
What's already smashed.
or I will run away from it. I do not know what I will do.
What device?
No, you saw it. Remember the mirror? I looked into your past. I
Yes.
saw you escaping.
Yes. So this mirror is your focus.
Shrug.
And what was the something from your dead wife that you had?
I'll hold out a locket. And I won't open it. I can back.
I see. Well, this is very interesting. And so your dead wife was the witch that was able to create the children.
Are you sure? Because from what you told us about how she responded to you reaching out to her, I'm not sure.
Hold on, because she's still bristling at her being called a witch.
Yeah.
It's terminology. Everyone handles language a little bit differently.
She is
English
the-
is not his first language.
She's a female warlock.
Oh, so she only knows one spell.
Eldritch children.
There it is.
There it
There's
is.
the episode name.
There it is.
But a woman who knows magic if she does. But from what you indicated, she wasn't at all interested in being connected back to the material
She
plane.
had achieved enlightenment.
So then why would she reach back to bring the children to life?
I don't know if it was necessarily conscious or not. it could have been my connection with her tapping into that.
Or it might have been you messing up.
Oh, ouch.
I mean, the results are undeniable, but it might have been you messing up because you don't have a great deal of control over them.
What do I roll for self-esteem?
Botched.
Well,
Because, like, Eugene will not, he doesn't want to say it, but he's not going to deny. It's like,
let's make a psychology roll.
Psych.
on himself.
Actually, make a sanity roll. Let's call it.
Ooh. Sandy, he might actually make that. Yeah, he
All right, yeah,
easily
you're
makes that.
you're like botched.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, that would, I think if he makes that, that's the, okay, I can admit, it's like, that's very possible.
I mean, I'm not going to deny the possibility.
Tough but fair.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny the possibility that your wife might have reached across time and space through death itself to bring them to life. But there's also the possibility that you might have just messed up.
Well, but I never brought them to life.
That might have been the mistake. That might have been what was botched, was
Does he have his bag with the stuff and it's like, oh, crap.
was perhaps accidentally tying a piece of your soul to them so that they're just always alive.
You do not control the children.
I mean, that's not necessarily true. They are, what's the right
They listen
word?
to you.
They certainly listen. They're very good listeners. They're very helpful.
And very literal from what you've said.
No, I have to be very literal,
Yes.
or they will take initiative.
Yes, they will, won't they?
There was no way for me to foresee that.
So you created these things that you do not control.
Well,
Are they powerful?
so I'm gonna dodge that question. so you see, I mean, who really controls their children? I mean, I can influence and I can help them grow. And Eugene does dodge that last question, that last part for.
You control your children with the switch.
Doesn't always work.
Doesn't, yeah.
Sometimes they take the switch.
Or sometimes
Use
they
it
grow to
against you.
become resentful. Eventually, they're going to go their own way.
But also that's the case with human children.
Yeah, exactly, children.
These are constructs.
I'm going to step out of the way of that because that is where I was going, but I didn't say it.
No, not entirely. No, they.
Do they have souls?
Yes.
Do they have souls or do they have pieces of yours?
What's the difference?
A lot, actually.
If you die, do they die?
That's the real question.
Or if they die, do you die?
If they die, are you left diminished? Are you diminished? Is that why you have difficulty with?
I can't talk about that. I can't even think about this.
Maybe they took your knee.
No, that is that's horrible things to say to Eugene. You guys are monsters. That is truly horrible. Wow.
Is that why you have so many problems with moral questions? Because they took part of your soul?
Eugene is leaving. I can't even imagine what he would respond to that with.
He just gets up and
is aghast. Oh my goodness.
I feel so sorry for Eugene, but at the same point,
Just carve out his heart with a spoon, why don't you?
I'd use a fork if they had one.
Tiger sends his love, Eugene.
Wow!
Do you really?
He goes and he
No,
pushes.
really?
He just goes out and pushes Tennyson over. Oh yeah!
Something needs to die!
So you're gonna go.
No, I don't say that.
No, but
I don't.
you're storming out.
No, I mean just the actual actually entertaining the thought of what happens if your children die is he's gonna go to his kids and maybe hold them and cry. Oh my god, that's brutal. That is seriously this is all he has left of his wife, at least he believes so.
Oh no,
oh wow.
I don't know how he processes it. This is a real sand check. You are terrible.
I've never claimed to be otherwise.
Oh my goodness.
All right, yeah, make me a sand check for this.
Yeah, that
The
is.
other side of Gwendolyn.
No, he's really hurt.
Cool.
I can't even play that. I don't know how to play that. Oh, he makes it.
All right, so
Barely.
So you are comforted by when you get back to the room, like all your kids are tucked into their little bed.
Did they make me a ceramic mug with World's Greatest Dad? Out of bones.
Oh yeah,
Out of a skull.
Skull mug.
Father, we've been saving this. No, they're all tucked in, and when you come in, they all immediately their eyes all open, and just these beatific smiles come up just at the sight of you.
Oh.
Like that way that like babies just sort of light up when they see a face they recognize, comes across their face, and like your heart lifts a little.
He's still gonna cry.
Yeah, no.
is-
And Father,
He's gonna hug him. He's just come here.
are you hurt?
No, just give me a minute. He's just gonna
Why are you crying?
stub my toe. It's an obvious. No, he's not even trying. They'd have to fumble.
Why are you lying to us, Father?
I don't want you to worry about it.
We will protect you.
No, It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Of course, Father. Was it the llama?
No, you don't. It's just been a rough day.
Of course, Father. When he leaves, Arcady looks at you and says, "That man is insane."
Yes.
No.
That should be the episode title.
Yes.
That man is insane. Yes, no.
Right. I think. No, I think that calling him insane is a little bit reductive. He is desperate.
He loves his children.
He wants to hold on to his wife.
Yeah.
They are not children.
No, they are not. They are constructs. He created them out of steel and wire, and maybe they have a piece of soul, fine, but they don't have their own soul, and that's different.
I do not know if that is true.
Yeah.
It very well may be the case, but I don't. I mean, they definitely have consciousness.
But
They have.
he seems to love them too. So
What
That's
if I
hard.
told you that I could negate these children, these constructs?
Go on.
that would hurt him so bad.
Yeah, and
They've been helpful to us.
they have.
No.
Oh, notes are being passed.
Wow.
This is
No.
exciting. This is exciting.
I won't say it though.
Stars and stuff.
Sorry, I actually didn't want to. I didn't think that would be that
Oh,
disturbing.
that is outstanding.
You showed me a big no. What did you think would happen?
That is
Chuckle.
outstanding.
No.
For the podcast listeners, I was just shown a note that no one will probably ever hear.
Probably not.
Although
Tell
it
them
might,
that.
it might come up at some point. Look, this man, driven insane by the death of his wife, is trying to bring her back, but he brings back these abominations
Well,
that you have said yourselves are dangerous.
Yeah.
but they are also helpful. They
They
are
killed
useful.
Tiger.
They killed a tiger.
They killed a child. They killed a real child.
They killed a small tiger.
No, they killed a real person.
Oh, fine.
Oh, they killed. Well, this is terrible.
They killed a 13-year-old boy.
Why did they kill a child?
Because apparently the balance was out of reckoning or some bullshit.
Who's to say if the balance ever goes out of reckoning again?
And what if one of us are the ones who are throwing the balance out of reckoning? Will he stick these murder creatures onto us? I don't know. I don't trust him.
He does not control them.
No. They listen to him to an extent from everything that has been
Yes.
said, but if they feel that something is important enough, they will just do it.
I have.
But if they have part of his soul, then that's what he wants to do?
It may well be that if the ritual that he did in order to bring them into existence was botched, it might be that... All right, I'm hypothesizing here.
Yes,
This
yeah.
is not any real evidence behind it, but maybe there's a mixture of the magic that he used and his own soul, and the two of them are in conflict.
I am going to show you something. Because I want you to understand there are ways to harness bad things to be useful. But they must be strictly controlled.
All right.
Now, to prepare you, what you are going to see is going to be different for each of you. This thing has a defense. Its defense is that it appears to you as that which you love the most. Because you will not hurt that which you love the most. But, and I cannot stress this enough, that is an illusion.
All right.
Yeah.
And to prove this, when you see this, you will each see something different.
Understand.
But once you have seen that, I will make it so that you can see what must be done to things to control them, to use these forces, to harness them properly.
You have a way for us to see the truth?
Yes.
Is this in the room?
Yes.
No, we are not bringing Eugene in on this.
The irony.
Will your friend be all right on the deck?
Oh, Tenzin?
Yeah. Yeah, Tenzin is now sitting cross-legged, like the wind is like, he's like the guy in that 80s Maxell commercial, just being blown backwards.
I believe he can fly.
He was able to walk across the Himalayas with nothing but what you see on him, so...
Is he a construct?
No, he's apparently just someone who's achieved enlightenment to an extent.
Or about to?
Or has that much, or just has that much control
Energy,
over his
yes.
body.
Has the energy.
What are you doing in Tibet? You said you're doing a ritual.
Let's leave that for another time.
Of course. Well, as I said, please come with me. And he'll take you down to the engine room. And Evgeny, when you all walk in, Evgeny stands up, but then he sees Arkady, and Arkady will tell him in Russian, sit. They need to see it. And Evgeny is just like, oh, no, you shouldn't. He looks at each of you, and just in the only English he probably knows, no.
I did not. The last thing that everyone else experienced, I did not see. And I wish that I had. I did not see the room. The other room.
And so Arkady will take out a key and unlock this door. And do any of you have any engineering skills?
Yes.
No, you're not here. Go away.
So basic mechanical repair.
Yeah.
Y'all have gotten a little bit.
Yeah.
Pharmacy.
Does
And
anybody
a
have
little bit
any
of
points in engineering?
No.
Okay.
Electrical compare. Yeah.
All of you make me a... Let's call it an intelligence roll.
Okay. 56
yes.
success.
Okay.
Hard success.
Let's see, I got 11, so yeah, that's a hard, extreme.
All right, so
Critical.
making
you.
the roll, you all are aware of the thing that Eugene noticed, that there's no machinery running on this thing. There's no noise, there's no heat, there's no engine running on this ship.
Is the engine there?
Yes, you're in the engine room.
But it's not
They
running.
could
I
have
mean, to
saved
your-
some serious weight if they would have just got rid of the engine.
That's a good point.
You try taking that thing out.
Yeah, you know.
With you two, with the better successes, are aware that there are all sorts of wires running into this room.
I wonder if that's what Eugene saw, and that's why he locked in on this room.
That makes
Is it
sense.
tubes or is it wires? Is it
These-
like...
This is you're not. Are you asking
Yeah.
Arcady? Yeah. He'll say. So, for the most part, the ship has no need of a generator or that sort. The thing is the motive power, but for lights and incidental power, we do require some small amount of energy that we siphon from this being.
All right.
And so
Do you do it electronically?
it is complicated. There are, we have conduits that transfer, for lack of a better term, psychic energy into actual kilowatts.
Ooh,
Interesting.
that's amazing.
Yes, Rasputin was a genius, and he created this device for this boat.
I notice you're using the past tense. Is Rasputin dead?
Rasputin cannot die.
So then, why is he was a genius?
Is Rasputin in the room?
He'll open the door,
There it is. All right.
and in the room, you each see whatever you love the most. So, what do you love the most?
My brother.
Your brother. Man, your wife is really
Childhood
upset about that. You see your brother as a child, but he is in immense pain. There are wires poking into him all over the place. He is immobile, but he is just radiating pain and fear and anguish. What do you love the most?
My father.
Your father. You have never seen your father like this.
Yeah.
Everything about your father is stiff upper lip and control, and he's the epitome of never let them see you sweat. And your father is small and shriveled and diminished and in anguish, and it's the worst thing you've ever seen. What do you love the most?
My mother.
Your mother. What is it about your mother that?
That I love that she allowed me to be, be the person who can adventure and go out, and she gave me that strength.
Yeah. So, your mother has been a source of support,
Yes.
and just, she has followed your career. She clips things from the newspaper and sends them to you. But I mean, this is a shell. This is your mother in her worst. She is. She doesn't even recognize you. And all of you hear, in your mind, "Help me. Please, help me." In the voice of your loved one. Everybody make a sanity roll.
Yeah.
Would it be bad if mine was Tenzin admitting he was wrong?
Made it, but just.
That's an ought 2.
2.
Well, very
I
nice.
got 24. That's made.
All right, you're all you're all going to lose 1 sanity. I'm very sad that no one is going to go for the. I've got to help them. And Arcady snaps you out of this almost immediately by pulling his revolver out and shooting
Oh.
your brother, your father, your mother. And in front of you, you watch them recoil. And then the bullet shatters like glass. And in front of you are two things. One is a floating, pulsating, metallic liquid that is just sort of roiling in the air, and there are wires and all sorts of wires put into it. And the other thing is a metal canister with more wires on it on a shelf.
So does it remind us of mercury, that kind of?
That's, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Except mercury, but this is mercury that's in constant motion.
Right.
Just constantly roiling.
Are the wires moving, or are they just static? And
The wires are
moving around
static.
it? Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so this alien entity is the power. And this, and he will tap the canister, is Rasputin. Tovarish! And in Russian, a voice will say, have you brought me women? And he says, da. Yes, yes, father, yes. Good! Vodka and women!
That canister is too small to hold an entire human. What's in there?
That is his brain.
Oh. I don't know if I'm actually better off knowing that, but...
Isn't it like a tin can?
Yeah.
Folgers.
Oh, no.
One day you should upgrade the technology and perhaps put it in a...
We have no idea. This Rasputin's, this was a creation of his own. And when the Tsar had him killed, we were able to save some of him. And he had prepared me. And he had told me that because of his protective spells, he could not die. And so I must always find his body. I was only able to find certain parts. He is, even in his diminished state, he is a genius. He communes with forces we cannot understand. But this is my point. We control all of this.
You can make it do what you want it to do.
Yes. None of this leaves this room. None of this has any effect except to power the ship.
Are you sure? You said alien.
It cannot, it is contained.
Perhaps we should shut the door and discuss elsewhere.
Yes.
As the door shuts, you each hear the voice of your loved one. Help me. Kill me.
Are you confident that that is actually contained, or is it waiting its time?
This vessel has been in operation for years.
What is years to an immortal being?
It is a fair point.
As long as it is contained until we get to where we are going, I think all is okay.
Sure, until there's blowback from other directions.
That is another day.
If this alien is able to make us see our loved ones, why can't people outside of this room? How is this room safe?
You are not in. So, the creature, if you cannot see it, it cannot affect your mind. It is an illusion.
Interesting.
It is sort of when Eugene did not want you to know he had his children.
Sort of.
Sort of. If you did not know that they were there, you did not know that they might be a problem.
But this is my proposition for you. Those children could increase the power of the ship immensely. And they would be contained. They would not harm anyone else.
That is a conversation for Eugene, not for us. They are Eugene's children
They are constructs.
that Eugene has created. And they do have some soul, whether it is his or his wife's or their own. They are their own person.
They are not people, comrade.
So,
No, not comrade.
yeah. But so, because we can see the constructs, they don't affect us the same way. They're not the same.
I do not tell you they are the same.
But they're
This is some sort of alien being entity. Those are constructs. They are created. But they are created and they are not contained or controlled. And that is a great danger.
I am not building him a Robosar.
That's a good title.
That is a
good
great
one.
title.
That is perfect.
I think that I would be more interested in learning how to contain and control them without adding them to the power of the ship, since you don't know exactly how all of this works. You don't know if adding that power to this power would cause something to break out. Some sort of alien intelligence with its own purpose, with the strength and willfulness of the constructs.
Rasputin could figure it out.
If all that he cares about is wine and women, I doubt it.
Vodka. We don't drink wine.
Excuse pardon. Cry pardon. The vodka.
Wine is for dessert.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless, I do not think it best to contain them in there. Learning how to control them would be much better.
Yes. Can
Well-
Rasputin help us control them?
I can ask him if there is a way, but the fundamental issue here is that he will not allow any sort of control.
No, he won't. So what do you think is going to happen if we try to imprison the constructs in there?
We will kill him. We have more men than he does. Not a problem.
And then we'll...
The children will not allow him to be killed.
Exactly.
We will contain the children first. They are far more dangerous than he is. We have spent decades, and we have used the wisdom that Rasputin has given us to harness these powers. This child is dallying with things he does not understand.
Well, then,
He is a danger to himself. He is a danger to you. He is a danger to everyone on this vessel.
And after we have finished our mission, perhaps. Until then, we need Eugene and we need the children.
Do we?
Do you?
yes.
Do we?
I thought that was whole part of it.
Didn't they kill your tiger?
They rid rooms of mirrors. What else do they do? What use do they actually have?
You can collect things.
I'm not speaking to you. Shut up.
Yeah, they can collect things. They
They have retrieved the bowls.
yes.
Wonderful.
They will fight forget what we call them.
The children of fear?
Yes,
the
the
Tokabaya?
children. Yeah, the Tokabaya.
No, they won't.
Will they not?
Eugene will not let them. He won't send them there because it would endanger them.
Oh, perhaps training.
We don't have time for that.
We need a montage.
Thank you.
We need a training montage showing them how to fire guns and kill
They
bad guys.
they put on headbands and
He thinks of them as children, and specifically his children. He will not allow them to be put into danger like that, which means that he will tell them to hide and stay away from things, as opposed to going and actually fighting the Tokapaya.
But he did send them out to go get the bowls. That's not.
Going and getting things is very different from directly confronting things.
Think- I do not think that these are decisions that we make without Eugene.
Again, maybe we should.
You know how he will feel.
We know exactly how he's going to feel, and if he is a danger to the mission, which means that he is a danger to the world, and the way that the universe is going to rebuild itself, do we include him in this conversation, knowing exactly what he's going to say?
What is this?
Leave it for now.
It is the mission, the cycle of Buddhism that resets every millennia or so.
You're standing in a flying ship, discussing whether or not something is possible.
Well, but religion is...
Then don't call it religion. Call it a cycle of the world. Things end and things begin.
So Buddhism is real?
As much as anything
According
is, I
to
suppose.
our 1,000-year-old friend.
He is 1,000 years old?
Yes.
Well,
And
perhaps we should contain him as well.
no. The current cycle, he doesn't want to get involved. As much as possible, he doesn't want to get involved. The current cycle of the world is coming to an end. And there is an entity known as the King of Fear that will, if he is allowed to be uncontained, will remake the next cycle of the world in his image. Our goal is to make it so that he can't.
Bullshit, boy.
Yeah.
He makes his sand roll.
I've picked up enough from these two to know that means, oh my god.
Well, then perhaps you need these constructs.
Yes.
But
Well, that's a difficult question, isn't it? Because there's...
We need the power. We need to have the help.
For what?
Well,
is the cure worse than the disease?
I'm just putting out there that if Tenzin asks Eugene to do something that will put him or his children at risk, he will fight back. He will not allow his children to be put into danger.
But if we talk to him about it and let him know how
We've
important it is.
tried.
Well, we need to, now that we know, let's...
What do you think, what are we going to tell him that has changed? What's different? He has known from the beginning that the cycle is ending. He has known from the beginning that the Tokapaya are a danger, and he won't send his children to deal with them, and they could. Because the Tokapaya are as susceptible to being killed as any other human.
Well, then we need to talk to him, and we could tell him about what we saw.
I think that would be a very poor decision. Because he will want to try to use it in his way.
But it's the ship power. But if we let
He
him
will
know-
try to use it in his way, regardless of the consequences. He has proven that again and again.
He will see his wife in that room.
And he will find a way to bring her back with that.
He might free her. So, if he's going to go in the room, we need to be on the ground first.
Yeah, well, we will make sure he does not go in the room.
Stop reaching across my camera.
Sorry.
And push it next time.
Curious what you think about that. That's just something for you to...
Yeah. Yeah, you've mentioned that before.
I don't trust him. I think that he is actively dangerous to the cause that we are seeking because he does not trust Tenzin.
Then why is he here?
I don't know.
He started the journey with us.
Could he be one of these children of fear?
Oh, I doubt it.
Oh. Well, you keep saying how he's not going to do what we want and how horrible he is and everything like that. Maybe he could be a child of fear. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's what we've got.
I doubt it.
Let's retcon.
But
There are
trying
3
to-
children of fear. They are small constructs.
No, those are the children of fear.
The grandchildren.
The grandchildren of fear. That's also an excellent episode title.
I know we've had problems with Eugene, but he's been there for us. He's helped. But if you think that he's bad, then I'm willing.
I don't think he's bad.
Oh,
That's the thing. I think that he genuinely wants something good. He wants to try to reclaim. I mean, what wouldn't you do for him for your lost love?
Sometimes you need to let them go.
I agree.
Yes. Sometimes you must contain your feelings.
Sorry. I'm British. I understand this.
yes.
However,
Subtle.
Yes, I'm a woman. I understand this in a men's job. I understand that.
however, I don't think that he is doing it out of malice. I think that he is doing it out of love, and that is more dangerous. Because love will make you do anything. Malice has self-imposed restrictions. Selfishness will have you stop it at a certain point. Love, nothing.
I see that. I feel that.
So,
Well, I tell you, I will not do anything without your request.
thank you.
But unless something happens on board this vessel,
Keep a very weather eye on that door.
if Guinea,
No, keep a better weather eye.
Oh.
If Eugene wants in there, he is going to send his children to try to get through.
They can turn a mirror to dust in seconds.
well, thank you for this. Yes, that would be most unfortunate.
I don't need a psychology roll to know that he doesn't think I'd be unfortunate at all.
It's hard to be cagey in a second language.
It's true. Just be careful. He's deeply curious about all these sorts of things. He's the sort of person who will unravel an entire spool of wire just to figure out where it goes.
To get to Eugene, you will need to go through me. And for him to get to you, he will have to also go through me.
So you are very in the way.
Yes, and I will take my leave. And I'm gonna go
All right.
back to the room.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, you're sharing a room with you. Eugene is still hunkered down, hugging his children.
Well, eventually he's gonna read from the book.
He's reading. When you come in, he's reading them an awful story about winged black things coming from the sky. And the kids are like, again.
Is it a story of
And
how
they
he
tore
killed-
the monk to pieces.
Oh my.
Well, it is late.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Thank you for showing this to us. Gwendolyn says, still wiping traces of
Yeah.
tears away, because
Yeah.
stiff upper lip is one thing, but
Yeah.
Well, I thought it important to show that I somewhat understand the scale, but also that I could offer potential solutions. And I also wanted to show you the truth. We have nothing to hide here. We are not your enemies.
It's good to know.
I appreciate that. All right, we should get some rest.
Back to the room.
All right? And I think that's going to take us to break.
I just have to point out, you roll 1 critical fumble by reading a book.
It has ripple effects forever.
My God, it's bad enough that he's against me. But now everyone else us. Oh my God. You murder one child.
No, Gwendolyn.
You murder one child.
Gwendolyn is. Against you's not the right word. There isn't really quite a term. Just
No, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
she's a realist.
you are a danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not an intentional danger, as you point out. He's well-meaning, but like.
But you are a danger, and
yeah.
and I
It
am
was
very
good to
much of
explain
the.
it. Yes.
No, this is.
Yeah.
Eugene doesn't kill people. Children kill people.
You know, it's true.
through you do by extension of
It's the grandchildren of fear kill people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, folks, for hanging with us. We were going to take a short break here. We'll be back as soon as 5 people can use one bathroom for part 2.
Stick around for part 2 because we're going to do a giveaway
Oh, giveaway.
when we come back.
All right.